Good morning. Good morning. It's the top of Tuesday, and I am Marissa Bloedoorn. I am the host. You welcome to the Author's Corner. This morning, I have with me Mark Wiggins, which is the editor in chief of Off the Bench magazine. I am super excited to have him with me this morning, taking center stage and owning it. Mr. Wiggins, how are you? How are you?
What it do? What it do? Hey, Marissa, what's happening?
Hey, we match.
I know, right? You got the memo. What I could throw on this morning. No,
Oh my
what's happening?
goodness. Listen, good morning. How have you been?
Hey, ripping and running as usual. Handling made some modifications to the magazine on release and getting new writers, contributing authors into the magazine is where I am right now as we prepare to enter our third edition. Like, December starts the third year. Seems like it was, I don't know, last year. I always tell the story about how we met and calling me back and saying, I'm a year to the date on the ground talking about some, hey, I got a magazine, you want to get in it. And then yours, average podcast, and you come back and say, you should have your own magazine. And I go, I so that's not what I do. You do for
Oh,
everybody else. And that's how we got here. That's how we got Off the Bench magazine. That's how we got OTB. That's why we have OTB lifestyle. This is how we got here. So it's been very far.
and you've had some incredible interviews along the way. One of the beautiful features about our magazines is that we have the video. And so I remember Hammer and Nails is the gentleman that you
Yes, yes,
interviewed.
yes.
That was so exciting.
I know, like to have a guy who was on Shark Tank and actually started the franchise, be there, and it was really impromptu. I was there to take the event, and one of our chapter brothers was involved in the marketing, so I got in. And then when I was, hey, interview you, he was like, yes. We sat down like live time. It was not scripted, not planned. That was a great interview. Great interview.
Yeah, yeah. And having the magazine offers so many opportunities that, people just don't realize that they can take advantage of. It really opens up your network to a host of people that you may have not been able to have a conversation with otherwise. And so it has truly only has been a blessing, I know, to me, and I'm glad that it's been a blessing to you. So, with that being said, we featured today's interview with your cover from June of 2021, and it has on there your focus for that particular month was King
Mhm.
Conversations. And so I know that you're building on it. This is your heartbeat. Talk to us a little bit more about what you're doing with what you've been doing since June of 2021 with King Conversations and what you're doing now.
Yeah, the King Conversations, we rolled that out the first time. And I had yesterday this conversation about, they're always talking about, Queen, get your crown, fix your crown, fix your crown. I'm like, there's two people in this conversation when it comes to the kingdom. Like, where's the king's crown? And that began the whole conversation of where are the kings and where is my crown? It was probably
Right.
over where, and I need to go get it. So the whole king conversation was really built upon my conversation with my son during pandemic on my deck, smoking cigars and sipping whiskey before he went off to med school, and just pouring. Like, let me give you some more of my insight. I got a few more things I need to get to you before you leave. And
Right.
so I gotta pack it all in, Marissa. I gotta pack it all in. You'll never
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
But conversation was so good. I'm sitting here with my preparing to go run his kingdom, like kingdom is wherever you are. So we expanded the conversation to say, you know what, let's talk to other kings and let's just start talking about things that are of importance to us that we don't often talk about. I don't relationship, that space was well taken care of. I got my own opinions on it, but I didn't want to start there. I started with things like, father-daughter conversations. We started with things like mental health. We started with things like chasing your dreams and loneliness and things like that, because we don't have the discussion. So every month out of that magazine, the first one, every month, the last Wednesday of the month, I have King Conversation. Whether it's a panel, whether it's myself a solo episode on a topic, I just talk about, the foolishness of some of our icons and where they are in mental health. Kyrie, Ye, whoever he is today. We had that conversation. So from there, it just God laid it in my heart, like, we got to do something. I wanted to create a project where the single moms that I come in contact with, first off, like, I need something for my son. And I want to put something in their hand from other men on their stories and the lessons learned that we didn't get to late in life, to help impart to these young kings. And if they got both parents, you still want them to read and get different perspectives from just your voice. My son picks up more from other people, but then it resonates back to what we've been talking about. So that's kind of how the book project has now been birthed out of the King conversation from my deck. That's how we got here.
Yeah, and that's my heart too, because being single for a couple of years, it's allotted me the opportunity to have a view from a wife's perspective of many years, and it has also given me a view of what's going on as a single woman, and not just as a woman looking for a man or wanting to be in a relationship. I have a bigger picture. It's not even about the love relationship as more as it is about the importance of having these conversations as it pertains to our community as a whole, the health of our community. You guys are the leaders, you're the heads. And so it's critically important for you guys to be healthy, because as the head goes, so does the body. If you guys are right, then we'll all be right. And so that's my heartbeat. And that's why this project is so very important to me. It goes beyond the love relationship. It's a huge, 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 and very important, endeavor, initiative for us to have our men get healthy mentally, get healthy emotionally, so that when they show up for their selves, when they show up for the family and they show up for the community, they show up at their optimum performance, right? At their optimum level. And so that's why I keep pushing, even with all of the stuff that we both have going on. I keep pushing to come back to this table to say, hey, let's talk to the gentleman, let's get the project up and going and things like that. So how can the guys get connected with you?
First of all, yeah, thank you for the support. Because part of the problem being a king, we ain't. Sometimes we don't have the support. You know what I'm saying? We don't have team that's saying go, we got, or we'll for you while we're taking care of everything else. And oftentimes we, as kings, put ourselves not last, we after last, and that's not good either. So the one things where you can help for those out there interested in getting your message out, we're looking for and you don't have to be a writer or speaker. I just need some line, some important, like theory, philosophy, share to help away whatever topic. Right. Just send me an email. Send an email to Extreme Effort, email in the, but send it to me, and we want to put that. We want to take your direction. Really, I have after story of my dad. In my book, Permission to Succeed, we talk about building this deck and the foundation of building a deck, and how, like on that story, my dad taught me some basic life principles about laying a solid foundation, about taking time early to make sure that it's right, because a half inch off down low is almost a football. It's done depending on the angles. That's basic geometry, right? So that transfers over to this daily living and doing the fundamentals. Anyway, that's the King Conversation book. And anybody has that type of story or wants to share and touch lives, we need that information in this book. It's a free project for the men coming to the book. It doesn't cost a thing. No barrier to entry. We need your articles. We need your information.
Yeah, and we need to promote it so that the right people are reading it. Our young people, and even older men need to hear it. I have conversations all the time. I work with both men and women, and in talking with the gentlemen, you often hear they didn't know, and so these we can say that we want to talk to the young generation, but we also want to talk to peer for accountability purposes. Because the kids are watching us. I always say, whether you want to be a leader or not, you are a leader. You're a leader of yourself first, and then you're a leader of those who are watching you from afar. Like, so you're maybe not be in a formal space of leadership or under a title of leadership, but folks are watching you. They're watching how you are handling things. They're watching your behavior. They're watching your conversation, the words that you say, and the actions and behaviors you proceed with. And so, as a result of that, they are following you and they're mimicking what you're doing. So, you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think
You're
one
doing
of
the
the
right.
things that as we as kings have to remember, be reminded of is that you're a king wherever you go. I'm reminded of having these conversations before I dubbed them king conversations with my young black male employees. And I work in a space that's high profile. I'm over at, I'm at CIA headquarters. I run a gift shop at CIA headquarters. And in my store where everybody comes, like the last stop on the train. And literally on any given day, the president can walk into the store and has. The director has walked in. She has walked,
Wow.
whoever's in top can walk in, and you sitting here looking like trash. And you trying to get ahead. You reflect the mirror your presence, about being there. And there's one guy I was just really, really hard on. I mean, he would come in, thought he was fat. He came in one day with a he had a white t-shirt on and some jeans, whatever. I pulled him. I said, please tell me you spent $120 on that white t-shirt. If not, go grab off the rack because you don't know who comes in the door. Let me tell you who walked in the door that afternoon. One of the cast from This Is Us hit the corner, walked in, and I looked at him and was like, this is what I'm trying to tell you, right? So it's those
Yeah.
moments where you teach not just dress. No, you're teaching about opportunity because the conversation really was about your next steps and how people see and perceive you when they're not even watching. I'm getting calls about so and so. Hey, they put an application in. What do you think about them? I said, your opportunity. You don't even know what happened to you. So those are there are plenty of men who have these opportunities. People who coach sports, like you're the gatekeep. Coaches are the gatekeep, and we have those kids as oftentimes more than their parents do on a daily basis in
Hmm.
both impactful times, right? Trying to learn skills. We have them under our directive, and you're pouring into them for years. Those make good authors as well. You got stories. Deacons from the church, anybody who works in the community, if you're around people and you're about helping people advance, then this is a story of men in a book for you to get into. And you're right, Marissa. I don't want it just for the kids. Of course, all right, everybody younger than us, but there are some 30s and mid 30s and 40s. They still lost here too. Still off a little bit. We gotta get all together. It's a little
Listen,
later.
you talk about 30s and 40s. How about taking up 50s and 60s?
Right,
I think
right.
that we're in a crisis mode. I think that a lot of folks are in identity crisis. We talk about mental health. Mental health coming out of the pandemic, during the pandemic, was very, very high. Brought a lot of awareness as to people having to do the introspective work. So when you are out and about, you're always around people. You don't have to focus on yourself. But when that was shut down and we had to
Mhm,
stay in our
mhm.
homes and stay in our own spaces, we had to do that introspective work, whether we liked it or not, because we had to see ourselves. And so
Absolutely.
there's an identity crisis. Men don't know their roles. They don't know their responsibilities because they have not been trained. It says, train up a child in the way you should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. But if they're not being trained and developed, and
Mhm.
adults are living their best life, so to speak, all the time, then our young people and the people around us, our kids, they're not learning how to discipline and prepare themselves for life. So you talked about the gentleman with the t-shirt. And it's all about being ready, right? You got to be ready. You never know when the opportunity is going to present itself, and you won't be able to seize the moment if you are not ready. And you got to, like, I'm dressed, right? If you see me, I'm dressed.
Mhm.
I could just have a shirt on, but that's not it. If I go out, people always say, well, Marissa, you're always, yeah, because I never know when opportunity is going to present itself. And it just takes that one opportunity that can make a life changing difference, right? And so we want to teach our people to, our men to seize the moment, in every area of their life so that they can feel fulfilled, right? Because we all, men and women, want to feel proud, right? You want to feel
Absolutely.
proud. You don't want to feel,
Yep.
you don't want somebody to come and tell you you should have had a suit on and you should have had your shirt on and blue. You don't want
Right.
that because if someone has to correct you with correction, even when it's good correction, even when it's said with the most honey and love, it's still painful because it tells you that you've been less than, you didn't show up at your best, right?
Absolutely. And then you talked about opportunities. You know, one of my catchphrases is opportunities do not go away. They go to the person who's most prepared. And that's part of what we need to be doing, because we have been through a whole lot in the mental health side of things, recognizing, hey, A, support, hey, I'm lonely, hey, you know, I've been able to identify these issues and emotions, not issues, emotions is huge. You've been able to just say that, you know, when someone, I just, out, just answering those last week, last month, about answering the doggone question, are you doing? Are you okay? And the answer, no, you're not. Say something, you know, learn one, ask a question, two, ask me, are you okay? It's very hard. I'm not okay. And people are, what's wrong? I said, I'm not feeling it today. More about my mom, worry about this, kids, or da 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 da. And I'm just kind of a little insecure about things, whatever. And they kind of nod and relax. So, but into nothing else, getting out of you into the ether, and you hear what you're saying, may cause you to go do something about it. You hear it back and forth, the you versus you, and sometimes putting it into the ether, kind of hearing it again, like, oh, it doesn't sound well at all. I've done that. Did I just say that?
Yeah.
I need to go fix that. That wasn't good at all. And
Right.
just doing it, being aware. But that's part of it as well. Being a king is able to look here. I didn't get that one right last time. I'm gonna work to fix me and it. So let's get to it, because that's what's required as a king. You got to be able to show grace. You got to be firm and fair, and you have to be able to do more than you know. People just think king as a dominant running things. Like, I'm gonna run this, and I leave relationships on this side over here, because we ain't ready for a relationship yet. We go get the crown, go get my crown, which means go back and finding myself. Where did I leave it? I heard one pastor one time, you know, they said, take Jesus to where your dreams died. Take him back over where your dreams died and ask him to revive them.
Yes, bring him back
I
from the
said
dead.
that was one of the most powerful things. And you got to remember, where did it die? It died when I boom, 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 boom. Let me go back and not go back and start from there, because it's always beginning where you are. Let me go back and remind myself how I got. Those are king conversations. Those are the king thoughts, because until we take care of self, until we go grab said crown, I can't adjust your crown. I can't adjust because you don't have it. And that's your confidence, that's your presence, that's your position. I'm here now. I'm in this room. We're going to make some stuff happen. Those are things you have to work on internally. We can talk about them, but confidence is a choice. Showing up is a choice. Leading is a choice. Being responsible is a choice. And being a king is an absolute choice. You can be a good king, you can be a bad king. I prefer you be a good king. But anyway, that's the mindset of me and this project, Marissa.
Yeah. That is it's so important to do the, like I said, it goes back to the introspective work. And most people want to run from that because it's painful when you have to look at your shortcomings. It's painful when you have to own that you're in error, you know, that you have to correct it. But the biggest thing I know for me, and I know I'm a female, but I believe that it could be for either gender, is to just be humble. Don't think that you've arrived, you know, and it's okay to apologize. We hear over and over again, don't apologize, it makes you look weak. No, you apologize because it is the right thing to do. And you're not weak when you apologize, you're actually strong because you are owning your error. You're owning the fact that someone else has feelings. Whoever you wronged deserves that apology. And you free them, right? So you build your character by apologizing, and by apologizing, you build someone else back up. You help them to be repaired by what you've done to them. And so I've always believed that I'm going to apologize all the time. You see me always say, my apologies. And every time I write that, every time I write my apologies, I am always reminded of how many say, don't apologize. And in my defiance to always care about others and have respect for others, I still apologize. And if you want to ever take that as a sign of weakness with me, I say, come,
You always looking
come,
for the fight. Where's you
come
always
on,
looking for the fight?
bring it.
You always looking for the fight.
We have to have a servant leader's heart, right? We are here to serve. The greatest shall serve.
Mhm.
So to whom much is given, much is required. So as leaders, I believe that if men set the example of a servant leader's heart that really cares for the people that they're responsible for, that God has called them to serve and to be among, then they'll feel better. Like when you care about people, I know you just feel it's such a different when you have compassion and
Mhm.
empathy. It's such
Mhm.
an easier space to be in than to be a tyrant, to be rough, and to it's such a different space to be in because you see people respond to love, and that's love. Love is patient, it's kind, it's not, puffed up, it's not envious, it's not jealous, it's patient in all things, it's long suffering. That's what love is. It builds up, it believes all things are possible. It encourages, it strengthens, it does not tear down and rip apart. It really builds up. And when I see men operating in compassion like that in a servant's heart, it's a beautiful thing to behold.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful thing to behold.
Yeah, there's a certain energy that King of Love, they possess those qualities. They don't have
Hmm.
to say much, much at all. Um, you walk into the room at 6 and just all this chocolate don't be here. It doesn't take long. People know that I'm in the room, and they're always wondering what I'm going to say next. They expect something, and I had to get over it. But I don't want to. I'm playing the back wall. I don't want. I don't want to lead this particular. I don't have something to say. Over time, especially to get, oh, I'm here now. You can pass me the microphone. Oh, I got plenty to say. And since you're
I know
expecting,
that's the truth.
since you're expecting it, let me now give it to you. But in
Right.
giving it, make sure you have something to say though. Don't just be saying crazy stuff. Have something to add to the conversation. Don't
Yeah.
just be opening your mouth for no good reason. But it means a lot when you walk in and you are confident in you and confident in what you have to do while you're there or not do, or even sometimes what they said, real power is knowing when to use it and when not to use it. And sometimes
Indeed.
you walk in that room and you don't say a word and you let people work. You do their thing. And sometimes you have to step up to the front, and sometimes you get your hands dirty. Sometimes you have to be that thing because that's what a good leader does. You think about back in the times, in the front fight, they led the charge. They led it, right? And somehow they make it back, but they let that doggone thing from they led it for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
But they look to that and people will follow. But again, it's really just about rediscovering self as we prepare to wind this year down and get into 2023. We got the Word of the Year issue coming out, the December-January issue. I will have my Word of the Year ready to go by then, and trust and believe is going to align to whatever I do all year long, as it
Uh,
did with Willing. Willing was a good one. That was a good one. But to be a willing leader, right? To be a willing king, you have to be willing to do and accept the responsibility. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for kings out here who are willing to accept responsibility. If you've never done it before, man, now's a good time to get started because
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
more coming behind. The project is not, the book is just not it. Marisa, I've been hanging with you for 3 years. It's never just one thing.
No.
It's
No.
never just one thing. It can be. It has to be some follow-ups. The conversation on live, that was step one. This is step two. And it's the third step. We want to talk about it. I need to get step two handled. But that's what we're looking for when we put this book together.
Yeah. So those of you who are joining in at the closing of the conversation, we're talking about King Conversations, the anthology, the book. And Mark is leading the way. This is his project. I'm super excited to be a supporter of his project and helping in any way I can. And he is looking for men to have King Conversations. And so if you're interested, you want to connect with Mark. You want to make sure that you get him his email, your email address, so that you can stay in the loop, and speak words of wisdom into the lives of your peers, into the lives of the up and coming generation, and even to give homage to the older generation, to acknowledge them and their importance in this conversation as well. It's cross-generational, and it's meant to uplift, strengthen, build, and encourage the readers. And so, Mark, give them, and your closing remarks, give them your contact information as well.
No, thank you, Marissa. Uh, Closing remarks is simply this. I'll leave you with this: is um, it's time to, as a king to do something for someone else. It's time to work on legacy. It's time to look at the future. You see what's happening around us. You see the absence of strong Black male leaders. You see it. You see what happens when we don't show up. You leave our young children to be reared by technology, TV, culture, and they ain't doing such a strong job. I don't know about you, but I don't want to leave my legacy open to interpretation to other people. I want to make sure that I'm defining my legacy as I go. This part of it, truly trying to resonate your message out and leave something that you can be proud of to hand your kid and say, this is what daddy's been talking about. Read this, these other men who are saying some good stuff. You take this book with you, right along the Bible, and go where you need to go, and you can get where you need to get. So be a part of the project. Again, it doesn't cost a thing. A lot of these book projects out here are worthy. I'm involved with one. I know it. I got it. But this one is a heart project. It's not about the revenue for me. It's about the message. It's about reach. So it's free. Get in, email me, tag me on the Facebooks, come up there, hit me on my inbox, or email me at extremeeffortradio@gmail.com. We'll start the conversation. We have some writers coming on deck. And because man's time is a long thing, you have good support, things will keep moving. So we're not stopping. Keep until it gets done. Not give up. I'm off the bench with this one, Marissa. So thank you so much for the opportunity and come on platform and to share the message and support from our coaching conversations over the years, even to get to this point.
Yes, yes, it's awesome, awesome. Yeah. And listen, book projects take time, especially when they're collaborative works, you have multiple parts working at the same time. And just like you said, it's bigger than just the book. What's beautiful about putting it in a publication is that people can go back to it. Like, it's a teaching aid anyway. So people can go back to it, they can read it again, they can use it as a resource. That's why it's so important to put it in written form. So that people have it as a resource to go back to. I know that I love all of my books and go back to them from time to time. So this is Mark Wiggins. He is the editor-in-chief of Off the Bench magazine. He is heading up a anthology project. It's called King Conversation. It's all about the men and words of wisdom, inspiring across generations and even aspiring up. And so get in touch with Mark. You see his name. You can follow him on social media. You can see him. He's on Instagram. He's on, you're on TikTok too, right?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm on TikTok.
He's here. He's on Facebook. You can find him. All you got to do, honestly, is put Mark's name in Google, and you will find Mark. You will find him and get connected. It's called King Conversations, and like Mark said, this is a passion. This is an initiative of legacy work. It's free to participate in, and just connect to him. If you feel like you have words of wisdom to give the young people, to words of affirmation to give to them, please connect to Mark and make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Author's Corner. We have been so excited to share with you this Tuesday morning. Get excited. You see, I am bursting with energy, and I have not been asleep all night. Working on that, our own Own It anthology, which I'm super excited. Within the next hour, I think I should be able to release it to everyone with a final thread through. We are out. We love you, ladies and gentlemen. Have an amazing week. We are still at the top of the week. So whatever you want to have happen, it's in your power to turn things around for yourself and finish strong. Take center stage and own it. This has been the Author's Corner. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. Thanks, Marissa. Talk to you later.